Happy Friday. Hi, everyone. Happy Friday. Let me just make sure I am live in Instagram and YouTube. Happy Friday. For those that don't know me, I am Tashina. I'm an executive leadership and team coach. I help teams and the leaders who lead them collaborate better, heal from conflict, and build systems that actually work without the drama. Today has been a day. So, y'all, this morning on my Instagram post, I posted a photo or a dance. Y'all see that trend with Stephanie Mills' song. And my youngest son and I did the little dance, and we did the little trend, and it was just so cute. My baby, he shows up. He's gonna show up, and he's gonna show out. So I told him I'd give him $20, but now I need to crowdsource for that $20. So the Cash App is linked to my Instagram page. Y'all, help us sister out. Help us sister out. All fun and games. But I was supposed to go live 2 hours ago. And I got caught into watching Don Lemon all morning. If y'all know Don Lemon, he used to be on CNN. Now he leads his own like YouTube show. I found out that he's also on Twitch. Y'all, I didn't know anything about Twitch, so I signed up and I was like, "Oh, this is another live streaming area." And yeah, have to think about that. But anyway, it seems like it's for maybe younger kids. I don't know, but we'll have to see about that. When I told my son, who is here home with me today, because he has no school, that I did a Twitch, he was like, "Oh, you're gonna go live, mom?" Y'all, I'm already going live. I just got to figure out what that platform is really for. But um, Cash App for my son, he would appreciate it because he's like, "Mom, I'm about to get that money." He's 11 years old, so you could imagine $20 goes a long way for him. Um, and as I was watching Don Lemon this morning, this live that I'm doing today is about how to design systems that build trust, not fear. And I was like, I gotta do this differently because, or I gotta revamp what I wanted to talk about or how I wanted to talk about this topic, because there are things literally in our faces right now that we just need to talk about. And as a leadership coach, as someone who studies leadership for a living, I always say that I'm a kind of like, I study people for a living, but it's leadership. I just wanted to revamp this a little bit differently because there's just things to talk about, especially with our systems, our systemic structures that somebody needs to talk about. And so that is why I pushed back this live today. And I was like, I have to approach this a little differently. If you want to get more storytelling, more of the raw emotion, please sign up for my email list. On my email list, I've been doing a lot more emails, storytelling, and my leadership approach, and some of the real case studies and things that I've been doing in different teamwork and different leadership one-on-one coaching. So do me a favor. Y'all, my birthday is next Saturday. So if I can increase my email list by 50%, I am going to be so happy. So happy, y'all. So join my email list if you haven't. The link is in the bio, or it is in the feature post on LinkedIn if you are watching on LinkedIn. So today I want to talk about trust because most of our systems weren't built to be trusting. And a lot of times we talk about trust like it's a feeling, like it's just about, if I like you, if I believe in you, that means that I have trust. But what I want us to realize today is that trust is structural. There's a lot of structural things that are happening when we talk about build trust. And when I talk about structure, I am talking about how we design our systems so that information flows back and forth, how decisions get made, or how we deliver feedback to different people, or how we show up as leaders when things go wrong. It's all embedded in this idea of trust. And most organizations, even organizations that are well intentioned, are still running on these fear-based blueprints. So I talked about the different kind of systems that we have in our organizations that we have, according to Frederick Laloux's book, Reinventing Organizations. And we have a lot of red and amber energy in our organizations that's based on fear, based on compliance, based on you better get it done or else. And a lot of our organizations underneath the surface, whether we see it or not, are still being ran in that way. Here's what I mean. Information gets hoarded just in case. Like, just in case we need to have this information, we need to make sure that we have it. We need to make sure not to let it leak. We need to have it just in case. Or people will stay silent in meetings because speaking up feels risky. If I speak up, if I say something, I it's going to be risky. When I was watching the Don Lemon show today, I actually caught him twice already this morning because he is boots on the ground in Chicago right now and just interviewing different people as they're walking by or he's walking by. And there was a guy he walked up to. Actually, there were three. It was one guy, and then there was a set of women. And he tried to talk to them, and they were like, "No, I can't. I'm a government employee. Oh, nope, I can't. I'm a court employee. I can't be on film. I can't talk, because somewhere we have learned that whatever we say will be used against us. Ain't that a law, y'all? Yeah, that's a law. So anything we say can be used against us. So it's risky. We've been taught, we've been seeing this attack on freedom of speech. And so whatever we say, it's risky, right? Y'all tell me if that brings trust for you, if that's a trusting environment, if you have to live like that. You tell me. Okay. You tell me. Other ways that we see is micromanaging. And then you put it into like this framing of like, we're not micromanaging. This is just all about quality control. This is all about just making sure that, everything is in order. But it's micromanagement. Or when we see things that go wrong, we don't repair, we start to blame. We start to say, it's your fault. You did it. It's all about you. Like, you're not a good fit. You're, not up for the challenge. You're not well versed. You're not well educated. You don't have enough experience. We see that. This is not a leadership flaw. This is actually a system design flaw. It's the way our systems are built. So today, on day 14 of my series, 30 Days of Systems That Make Teams Work, I want to get real about trust, about where it breaks down, about what fear looks like when it's baked into a system, and how to redesign these systems and the way that we work so that trust isn't just something we hope for, we wish for, but it's something that we default to. Because trust doesn't always start with people. Sometimes it starts with the systems that we build, right? It started with our preconceived notion about different things, honestly. And I know some people are like, I trust you until you break my trust. And then there are other people that are like, you got to prove that I can trust you before I actually trust you. I'm the latter. Prove that I can trust you. And it's based on like these different systems and these different things that have happened to me over time that I still have to work through. Okay, so anybody know who Minda Harts is? She is one of my favorite authors. She has inspired me so much just about equity in the workplace and understanding how what things look like, creating a lot of awareness. And she has two books. One is Right Within, three books, and she has The Memo, and then she has a new one that she just came out with called Talk to Me Nice. And she talks about how trust isn't just given. It's earned through consistency. It's earned whether or not I care, like you show me you care, and accountability. And what she says is that when people don't feel psychologically safe, they can't trust you no matter what you say. I want you to look around in your world right now, in your world, our world, and you tell me Does it look like people are psychologically safe? Be honest. Are you psychologically safe? Are you feeling like you feel good about different things? You tell me. When she said this, it really hit me because most organizations try to tell people trust the process. It's okay. Things will be okay. But they never design systems that actually deserve your trust. They don't, right? Let's be honest. You cannot say we are a family and ignore microaggressions. You can't say you value transparency and you hide critical decisions from people. You can't say you empower people, but you never give them any decision making power. These are all things that Minda Harts calls performative trust. It's performative. It's not really like you're talking a good talk, but you're not walking that good walk. Real trust, the kind that makes teams resilient, comes from systems that show, not tell. Actions speak louder than words. I said this yesterday. Actions speak louder than words. So, as we transition, before I go further with just looking at, how do we build the trust, we need to talk about what fear looks like in systems and how we learn it. Okay? Because we have to be real about that. Because fear isn't necessarily born in the workplace, it's literally baked into the systems that we live in every single day. We have been shaped, we have been conditioned to believe that safety comes from silence, control, and compliance, and not trust. Okay. If that person stays silent, I'm safe. If I control that person, I'm safe. If they comply with my needs, I'm safe. That's not a very trusting situation. And when those patterns get repeated over and over, they don't just shape our society, they shape how we show up at work too. We try to separate our work selves from our home selves, but unless you're a two headed monster, you are one individual and you are the same, and those patterns are showing up in both places. Maybe a little undercover, maybe not as like out in the open as you think, most of the time that it is, but it's there. So let's break it down. Let's break down what fear looks like in these different systems. Okay. I'm just going to say it. Maybe nobody else is going to talk about it, but let's talk about our government systems. Okay. When we think about our government systems and how they operate, it operates a lot under secrecy, under surveillance, and power. And secrecy, surveillance, and power are often seen as keeping things stable. I talked about this, the red environments, the red organizations. When leaders withhold information, when policies are made behind closed doors, when safety means I have to constantly monitor you and make sure you're doing your job, micromanage, people don't feel protected. What do they feel? We've been hearing this a lot in our conversation. They feel policed. They feel policed. I'm going to call a thing today. I'm going to call a thing a thing. Because we've been taught that control equals order and that if we follow the rules, we're going to be okay. We better not get out of line. We're going to be okay. But that kind of control doesn't build trust. It breeds a lot of compliance, and compliance is not the same as commitment. You can't make me commit to you if all I'm doing is keeping myself safe because I fear you. Okay? Share this live. If you are watching this, share this live because this is some important information about fear in our systems. Okay? So that's the first one, government systems. Fear through control, through secrecy, through power, through surveillance. The second one, all right, y'all, I'm getting a little juicy. I don't know how many people going, what's it called? Cancel culture. I hope I don't get canceled, but I got to call a thing a thing. The second thing is our media systems. So in the media, fear is almost like a business model. It almost is. And even on these internet streets and our social media, if there's a lot of outrage, if there's a crisis, if there's some type of divide, it's going to keep us scrolling. We're going to keep on clicking. We're going to keep on reacting. We're going to keep on commenting. It's almost like it just like pulls us in. And we're watching and we're connected and we're stuck and we're like, oh my God, because guess what? If the media doesn't show a fear based organization, they don't get paid. We got to show that there's a problem. Oh my God, the sky is falling. So we're constantly from the media told what we need to fear, who we need to blame, why we're on opposite sides. Like constantly, it's always constant with that. And that's why it's so hard for us as individuals to have an approach of solution based. We go into what's wrong, we go into what we should be afraid of, and we don't start with the solution. And that's harder for us to do. I know in some of the meetings that I've been having lately, where I've been asking, like, okay, so if that's a problem, what's the solution? And it gets silent. Like people really have a hard time with the solution. I could even ask it a different way. Like, what would make this feel better for you? What would make you feel like things are being worked on? Silence. Absolutely. It just goes silence. And so the result of that is we don't trust what we see. So we have this, love hate relationship with the media. We don't trust each other because we don't know who's telling the truth. And then that mistrust seeps into everything. And so now we're going to work and we're keeping our head on a swivel. We don't know who to trust. And when we're constantly fed fear, we lead from fear as well. This is how it's showing up in our systems. Okay. Just keep noticing, keep like, the elders would say, keep living, just keep on living. You're going to find out. The third way is in our education systems. Yes, our schools, our universities, our colleges, all of that. From an early age, we are taught to play it safe. Play it safe. If when we learn, when we're young kids, we learn that if we get the wrong answer, that means you failed. That F on your test, ooh, that means you failed. You didn't do a good job. That F on your report card, you did a bad job. You failed. We have learned to not even see failure or the concept of failure or not getting the best grade. We don't even see it as a learning lesson. If we always succeeded all the time, we wouldn't have some of the inventions we have. We wouldn't see people progress and grow like they have. Like we would just be kind of like perfect. And what is perfect? Will we be a monolith? Will we all be the same? Would there be a major status quo? Maybe. But the best ideas come from somebody not doing it right the first time. It just does, right? I don't show up to these lives perfect all the time. Some days I'm not feeling it. Like, I'm not perfect. I'm a beginner at going live every freaking day, right? But in those moments where it's not perfect, I'm learning something new. I could look back and say, "Ooh, okay, this is what I could do next time to make it better." We also learn in our education systems that the teacher or the person in authority has all the right answers. And so if we like go against what our teachers say, we are being defiant, we're not listening, we're not like all these words, and don't be a little black boy in a class and tell your teacher that they're wrong. You can forget about it. You could forget about it. Your child has like did the shouldn't have did it, right? We learn this in our education systems, in our formal, in our younger years. We rarely get awarded for curiosity. We don't get rewarded for taking a risk. And we actually don't even get rewarded for collaboration. And this one for me, the collaboration piece is so mind blowing to me right now, especially in 2025, because in corporate environments, it's all about you can only get where you need to go by collaborating with others. But in our school systems, you take your test by yourself, you don't collaborate, you don't have like it's just like individual, and that's how you fail. When we know when you go into the real world, like the test or trying to figure something out, you're going to have notes next to you. You're going to be able to look, you're going to be able to kind of figure it out. But we've been learned to be compliant, get everything correct. That's the only time we get rewarded in our school systems. And so we grow up believing that safety means staying quiet and doing what's expected or not rocking the boat. And then we take that conditioning right into our teams and our organizations. You got to get it right. And if you don't get it right, that's a problem. It is. All right. So let's move to corporate and economic systems. Corporate and the next layer is with how corporate systems work. So job insecurity keeps people quiet. If I know there's a potential that I could lose my job, I'm not saying shit. I'm not talking about nothing. That's how it is. Or when we don't make pay transparency, like there's no pay transparency, everybody's competing because now I'm wondering what this other person got and what they're getting paid, and how is this happening, right? I recently coached somebody one-on-one, and she's a leader in an organization, and she was saying how much competition, not even competition, but one of the employees is always asking, like, they're not doing as much as I'm doing, they're not doing their work, they're not doing this, they're not doing that, because there's a competitive spirit. The root of that is competition. And so we've learned to compete. And I remember asking, is the pay transparent? Is it? And honestly, she said, yeah, the pay is transparent. It is. In California, pay is transparent. And that competitive spirit just is stuck. That's what it teaches us. And then micromanage, whenever we're being micromanaged, is going to keep us small. We say we want innovation, we say we want new things, but our systems teach people that making mistakes costs too much. It's going to cost you your bonus, it may cost you your job, and it may cost you your reputation. And so we get stuck and we want to stay. So instead of leading with trust, we lead with protection by protecting our image, our status, and our position. We are not getting kicked out, right? This is what Mendel Hartz calls performative safety. And it's when people act professional, but they never feel psychologically safe. Whew, that's psychological safety, y'all. Right? If you are trying to figure out how to create a psychologically safe environment, look at your systems. That's the solution. Look at your solutions. You'll get it right then. Look at your solution, your systems, and create a solution. I think I said that wrong. Look at your systems and create a solution, and that's where you'll start creating a psychologically safe environment. Not these like 5 steps to psychologically safe environments, right? That's just the band-aid fix. Okay. Now, last one is our legal systems. Even in our legal and our policy systems, fear is the operating model. We punish more than we restore. Now, I know criminals need to go to jail, but where's the restoration? Just wondering. Asking for a friend. We also regulate after harm instead of designing for prevention. We make the system so complicated that people give up trying to navigate it. It's too complicated. Forget it. I'm just not going to even deal with it. It's too much paperwork, too many hoops, too many loops, all these different things. And then we say that complexity isn't neutral at all. It's control disguised as order. Okay? And it teaches us again that trust isn't earned, it's enforced. Trust isn't earned, it's enforced. Share this live if you're watching right now. This is some good stuff about trust, designing systems that build trust. I just walked through the different ways that trust looks, how it appears in our government system, our media systems, our education systems, our corporate systems, and our legal systems. So share this live. This is some good stuff that I'm talking about today. So, by the time we enter the workforce, most of us already know how to survive in a fear based system, and not even survive, how we should navigate it, how we should show up, how we should protect ourselves in fear based systems. And we've learned that speaking up can cost us, that mistakes are punished, they're not repaired, that information is power and power isn't shared. And so we walk in organizations and see micromanagement, we see information hoarding. We see people being silent in meetings because they're afraid to talk, speak up, and or we blame the culture. Did y'all come to my live on culture? We blame the culture. It's not new. It's what we've always done. It feels familiar, right? And we've been practicing these patterns our whole lives. But fear may be what we've been taught, but trust is what we can design. We can design trust in our systems. And if we want teams that move with more empowerment, with more feeling of safety, instead of feeling like they have to be cautious or, you know, walk on eggshells, that starts with reimagining our systems and making or stop making fear the norm of how we operate, because it doesn't have to be that way. Okay. So now that we've named how fear shows up in systems, let's talk about how to design for trust. I know that's why y'all here. Y'all want to know, how do I make, my team more trusting? How do I make my organization more trusting? How do we do that, right? The first thing I want you to know is you can't tell people to just trust more. You can't just say you can trust me. You can't. Actions speak louder than words. I need you to walk it like you talk it. That's what I need to see. You have to build the kind of system where trust is the natural outcome. Even when someone fails, even when someone makes a mistake, I trust you, and I trust that you learn something different. I trust that you're going to do something different the next time, right? Trust isn't about being perfect, it's about being consistent. It's about people knowing what to expect from you. It's about knowing what people expect from the system and from one another. Okay. Trust also isn't fluffy. So you may say, like, when I do meetings and when I do team sessions, I do say, like, we need to build, we need to start at a level of trust, and we need to make sure that we can trust each other. The way that I enter into that process is by designing how people want to be with each other in those meetings with a design alliance. It's structural, okay? It's built into the way information flows, it's built into how decisions are made and how accountability is handled. Okay. So if fear is built through control, silence, and secrecy, then the opposite of that is trust is built through clarity, through consistency, and through care. Okay. So let's walk through how to design for that. The first thing that you need to do is to make information flow, not trickle. Okay. Trust thrive, like, we want to make it rain. We don't want to make it sprinkle. Make it rain. Don't make it sprinkle. If your team only learns what's happening after the fact, they are not included, they are just being managed. Okay. So you need to bring people into what's happening so that they know, right? When people have access to the context and they have access to why decisions were made or why things happen or why information is the way it is, and they're not just given crumbs on the side, they have a better opportunity of actually thriving and feeling empowered and feeling like they can move forward, right? Okay. I'm sorry, I had to mute for a second because the fire truck was going by my window. Okay. So the way to do this is start with visibility. Make your goals and your progress public. Make it public so people actually see what's happening. You could use a dashboard, you could use a shared Google Doc, you could do updates more consistent, like maybe the updates are every week or, once a day and a stand up or something like that, but make those visible. Then you need to share the why behind decisions, not just the what. This is one of the ProSci change management uh, approaches. Is like share the why. Simon Sinek in his book, share what's the why. When you can share the why behind different things and not just the what, people feel more connected. People will start to buy in. Okay. And if something is confidential, just say it. It is confidential. I can't share that information because guess what? When people are clear on what you're sharing and what you're not, that's going to build trust faster than any silence ever will. The goal here about making information flow is to move from a need to know to I am going to build it so that you always know. It's not just a need to know. I can argue that I need to know all the things as an employee in an organization. I need to know it all. Right? Tell me. So I have so I'm put in a position that I can actually make a very good decision. Okay? So that's the first thing. The second thing is to replace compliance with communication. In fear based systems, people comply, but in trust based systems, people communicate. You can't have one without the other. Okay. What this means is create regular, safe spaces for honest feedback, not just during a crisis, not just during performance reviews. Always have a space where people can give you feedback. This is why retrospectives for me are kind of like the easiest way to do this, because if you put something where somebody can get feedback all the time, that is like the best type of like opportunity, like because you're constantly getting it. You're not just waiting for maybe an annual review or quarterly review. You're always getting the feedback. You also want to encourage leaders, and I want to encourage you as a leader to model vulnerability. Admit what you don't know, share whatever lessons you are learning, and make listening a part of your job. If you're not taking the time to listen, you are missing valuable information that's important for you. I think once we start moving up the ladder, we get so disconnected from how things are at the other levels, at the lower levels. And so we need to make listening a part of the job so you continue to know what's happening and you continually can build for the system so that people feel a sense of belonging and feel like they can be connected. And then respond to feedback visibly. So when people see you act on what they share, that's when your trust starts to build. It starts to compound. It starts to be better. Okay. Feedback loops aren't just tools. These are the ways that you build trust in your system. Okay. So this is an opportunity for you to do that. The next thing is to redesign accountability as care. Yes, we can hold people accountable, but they want to know that you care. And that's the reason why you're sharing that. Because most accountability systems are designed to punish, not develop. Because you made that mistake, you're not up for that promotion anymore. You just punished me for a mistake, for taking a risk, for learning something new. That's not going to develop me. That's going to shut me off. And now I'm looking somewhere else for another job. Okay. When people fear consequences more than they trust the process, they're going to start hiding mistakes. They're going to start hiding the mistakes. Instead of learning from them, they're like, okay, let's sweep this under the rug. Let's make sure nobody finds out about this. That's what's going to happen. So what you can try is move from blaming to repairing. When something goes wrong, ask, what's the breakdown in the system, not who messed up. What broke down in the system? What broke down? That feels so much better than having to be like, oh, yeah, it's me. I messed up. Oh, it's me. That feels just so much more empowering. And it feels like you care. It feels that way. Literally, when I say it even now, it feels that way. And again, you can build times and rituals, putting a ritual in place like the retrospectives, project reviews, or what did we learn check-ins, like do all of these because that will help to kind of like put things out on the table and really, put forth a caring spirit to other people. And then celebrate ownership. Celebrate somebody for taking ownership. Even with the mistakes, celebrate them. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. And so celebrate them. Because when accountability is paired with care, it's what keeps the performance strong. It keeps trust strong. It allows people to keep trying without fear of retribution or consequence. Okay. The next thing you can do is give autonomy before it's earned. Give autonomy. People like autonomy. Okay. Fear based systems make people prove themselves before they are trusted. You got to prove to me that you can do it. Job descriptions, job interviews. You have to prove to me that you can do it. And then you'll trust me? Dang, right? But trust based systems flips that. They start from trust and then you reinforce it through a partnership. And what that looks like is you delegate decisions to the people closest to the work, allow them to make that decision and trust that they're making it on behalf of the team and not just themselves. You let people and teams experiment. You can give them clear boundaries. Okay. I don't want you to think that it's like, just go all in, do what you do. No, you can still set up some boundaries in that, but allow them to experiment. Here's the goal. How you get there is fine. Here's the goal. As long as it doesn't touch another team, you can make that decision and experiment. Like, what are the boundaries? And the way you can ask, what do you need from me to move forward instead of show me it's done? Checking in along the way. Okay. When you give people autonomy to make decisions, it communicates that you believe in them. And when somebody knows that you believe in them, it's going to be build trust so fast that you're not going to even have to be on a pedestal to say, "Hey, I trust you. I trust you." You won't even have to say that. They'll know it. They'll feel it. They'll love it. Okay. Two more. Make repair part of the system. Even in the best cultures, trust will be broken sometimes. And we know that we're not perfect people. And I don't talk about this as an intention to make it seem like you need to be perfect. We are going to have times where we're going to have to repair. And just because you have to repair doesn't mean it's a failure on your part. It means that you're human, that you have a sense of like you have some humanity. You're not a robot, right? And I can argue even robots will mess up. Even my phone is going to glitch out sometimes. Even my computer technology ain't going to work all the time. My Zoom is going to go in and out, right? So we know that just because something fails, I'm still going to use this phone again. I'm going to turn it all the way off and I'm still going to use it, right? We should feel like that about our people that we work with. Even when they mess up, we still are going to fully empower them to try again because we know they can do it. Okay. The key when you have to repair is in what you do next. Okay. So you need to, like, the way to build processes for repair in your system is to create a ritual for reflection. Again, retrospectives, y'all. Retrospectives. I'm telling y'all, it works. Also, teach leaders how to apologize and make amends publicly when they need to. Teach them. If we have more people apologizing and saying, look, my bad. I did not realize the impact that this was going to have on you. How can I make it better? We will show so much care. We will be repairing so much better in our systems if we did that. And that's what we have to learn how to do. And then normalize revisiting decisions that didn't land right. If it didn't go right, revisit that decision, see where the system broke down, and fix it from there. Okay. Because if you repair the system and you create a system that repair is part of it, your system is going to last a lot longer. It just is. Share this live. If you are not, if you are listening, if you are, checking this out, I think this is a powerful one because trust is on the chopping block right now in our society and in our organizations. Okay. So share this live because I think this will help somebody. And then the last thing is align our words with workflow. If your culture says you value transparency, but your workflows are full of hidden decisions, if you're gatekeeping information or there's some favoritism, poof, be gone. There goes the trust. It's gone. Okay. So audit your systems and ask, do our policies actually match our values? Do our everyday actions reinforce what we say we believe? It has to match. Let's stop contradicting ourselves. Don't be a hypocrite. It's another way to say that. Like we have to make sure they match. Okay. If it doesn't, adjust the workflow, not just the messaging. Don't just talk about it, be about it. Like make sure that it matches because people trust what they experience, not what they're told. My husband always says this about the kids, which is they don't do what you do, they don't do what you say, they do what you do. Something like that. And it's true. Kids will follow how you're role modeling your behavior, not what it says on a paper. It just doesn't happen, which is why as a leader, role modeling is so important. It's so important. And we just have to be mindful of that and make sure that we are actually that we are actually doing the things that we say we're going to do. Okay. So here is what I want you to think about the next couple of days or as you're looking at your system. Where does fear still live in your system? Where could you add more clarity, communication, or even more care? And how would you make trust the easiest thing for people to feel? How would you make it the easiest? You are not going to get trust from a pep talk like, yeah, 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 we can trust each other. Woo, 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 woo. And then your policy doesn't match. It's just not going to happen. It's just not. Okay. It comes from the systems that we build. It comes from how we build our workflows. It comes from the ones that make people feel safe enough to show up, safe enough to speak up, and to do their best work. Okay. When you design for trust, fear dissipates. Fear doesn't have anywhere where to live. It's gone. Okay. Okay. Don't start with motivation. Don't start with a rally. Start with designing your system in a way that trust flows and it's just a natural part of the organization. Okay. Because trust is not a vibe, it's not a feeling, it's a system. It is a system. Okay. I hope that these lives are helping you. I have how many more days do I have left? Maybe 16 because I'm on 14 today. So I'm doing 30 days. And I just want you to realize like trust or the systems thinking. If you're talking about like you want to be a better systems thinker, I've been giving you a lot of information on how to think about systems because it's all a system. We're all in a system, whatever it is, family systems, work systems, corporate systems, we're in, athletic systems, we're in religious systems, like all these systems, it's all a system. And when things are breaking down, when there's a lot of problems in our society, it's because something in the system is ugly. It's not good. Okay. So hopefully this was helpful. Share this live. If it was, make sure that let's get this information out to more people. If you want more storytelling, more things that are happening, please sign up for my email newsletter. If you are not on Instagram, go check out my Instagram on the video that my son and I posted. Somebody texted me this morning who I hadn't heard from in a long time and was like, oh my God, I saw that video of you and your son. And it just made me think about it. Like you look so happy. So that was a gift to me. just to hear that, because I like to do some fun Fridays sometimes. It just puts something out there that's a little bit more fun and lighthearted, even though I came to this live, but that was a little bit of lightheartedness for a Friday. I will see y'all again tomorrow, probably closer to the afternoon, evening. I have a football game to attend in the morning with my son. Wish us luck. And I'll see y'all later. Bye.